we arrived in London at 9 a.m. London time and then headed straight to my best friend's house. We ate breakfast and took a nap so that we'd be ready for our first night out. We headed to this restaurant called the Levo and it's in Embankment and it was really good. I had prosecco with truffle, tagliatelle, and tons of Parmesan cheese. And then across the road from that is a bar called All Bar One. It's a chain bar throughout London. It was really fun, really good drinks. We then met up with a friend of mine from Toronto who brought us to Soho House. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film there. And then he ended up bringing us to District, which is a great nightclub in Soho, and we had a freaking blast. The next morning, we had an early start. We got on the tube and headed to the Sky Garden, which you can see here. It is so beautiful. It's like a bird's eye view of the entire city. There's all this like greenery and flowers inside. And here we are on the lookout observation deck. And as I said, you can see the whole city. So you can see like Tower Bridge, which is right there, and then you can also see the Shard. So it was really pretty, and it was the girls' like first look at London, which was really cool for them. We ended up just going in and getting snacks and a few cocktails. They make the prettiest cocktails there, and honestly, all their pastries were so good. It was kind of expensive, but it's kind of what you expect when you're going to touristy places. Next, we stopped off at a pub, and this was just down the road, and we stopped to have some beers. So when you actually know somebody who lives in London, it's great. It's a great way to see the city because they always know of these like really cool hidden spots. So Daniela, my best friend, brought us to this lookout so that way we can see St. Paul's Cathedral. And it was really pretty. And there was actually a restaurant up there and you could grab drinks and sit down, but we didn't do that. We ended up hopping on a double-decker bus, which I highly recommend doing if you're in London. It's a great way to see the city. If you go to the top and sit at the front like we did, you could really just see everything. So here we are on day 3. We spent the day shopping in Kingston. It's just a bunch of like outdoor shops, and it's nice because you're not inside of a mall. We went to my favorite store in the UK, River Island. It's a must if you're visiting London, and we did a little bit of damage here. We all bought some really cute items, just different things that you wouldn't find at regular stores. And then I love this store, Tiger. It's just so random, and I didn't actually buy anything, but they just have so many random like trinkets and gadgets, and it's just fun to look at. So we stopped at the Kingston pub for lunch, and I had the steak pie. It is so good. It's probably one of my favorite classic English dishes. So it's our 3rd day in London, and it's pouring rain. We've made it 2 days without rain, and now it's pouring. London weather is always so unpredictable, so it's always good to like pack in layers, bring a trench coat, bring umbrellas. So even though it was raining, it was not going to stop us on our day. So here we are at Libertine. It's a great breakfast place in Raynes Park. We had breakfast, and then we headed over to South Bank to do some exploring. This area of the Thames River is really nice. You have a nice view of Big Ben and Parliament, and then you have the London Eye behind you. We were heading to cross the Westminster Bridge, which is also another gorgeous view of the lake or river and the city. So we're on our way to Soho for afternoon tea, and we walked through Trafalgar Square, which is a really busy area of central London. It has all the embassies, and we ended up stopping to listen to this amazing street performer. All this time, going for afternoon tea is a must in London, and if you do choose to do that, I highly suggest going to the Soho Secret Tea House. It's like very discreet. We went through that pub, up all these stairs, and then it brings you to this like hidden little tea room, and it is so adorable. It's like set up just like you're having a tea party. And they bring you a tray with all of these delicious foods on them. There's like cucumber sandwiches, egg salad sandwiches, tons of pastries. We were so stuffed by the end of this and had a really hard time finishing everything. So here we are at Buckingham Palace, and actually when the flag is up on the palace, it means that the Queen is there, which is pretty cool, but we didn't get to see her. Okay, ready? Oh, did you hear that? So after spending some time outside of Buckingham Palace taking pictures, we went for a stroll through Green Park. It is a massive park and it is really pretty. All the trees in London are just like always so green because of all the rain. So then after this we ended up going home and packing for our flight to Spain the next day. Cheers. Cheers. Going to Spain today. So we flew out of Gatwick Airport to Marbella, Spain, and we were so excited just to get there and feel the heat and sun that London was lacking. And we flew with EasyJet. It's a great British airline and it's usually pretty cheap. We arrived in Marbella at about 10 p.m. and got to our Airbnb. Here it is here. There's like one bedroom with 2 single beds, and there was another room with 1 bed and 1 pull-out bed. It was perfect and a great way to save money. It was located in Old Town Marbella, specifically in Orange Square, which is a square basically filled with restaurants and these really cool orange umbrellas. So we sat there and had dinner, and guys, these were some of the best mussels I've ever had in my life. When you are visiting a coastal city, eating seafood is a must. So our mornings in Marbella consisted of going to this little cafe and drinking freshly squeezed orange juice, these great croissants, enjoying the view, and then we would head over to the beach. The beach was really nice. The water was cold, but honestly it was so hot out that after like 30 minutes we didn't even care if the water was cold. We just jumped right in. This is an area off to the side of the beach, and here's my cousin and I just sitting and like putting our feet in the fountain because it was so hot that our feet were seriously burning. We needed to refresh them. So that night we ended up going to this really nice restaurant and finally trying authentic Spanish paella, which is basically this huge rice dish with a ton of seafood in it. It was so flavorful. There's shrimp, mussels, clams. If you like seafood, then this is a must-have while you're in Spain. And of course, accompany it with really great Spanish wine. So our days were just filled with lounging on the beach, having drinks, and working on our tan. It was so relaxing and beautiful. So here we are arriving at La Sala. It's a pretty fancy restaurant in Puerto Banus, and they had a live piano band, so we were enjoying some drinks and music before dinner. Our meal did take a while to come out, but once it did come out, it was really good. I had steak, and because it was such a long wait, they ended up giving us an extra free bottle of wine, which was great. The best part of traveling, in my opinion, is meeting people, and we met this great group of people and had so much fun singing along to the band with them. So after the piano bar, we went downstairs to this club called Aqua, where they play the best throwback music. Britney Spears, Nelly, Biggie, just tons of throwbacks. So the next morning I had gelato for breakfast because it's always so much better in Europe than anywhere else in the world. And then we spent that day kind of like exploring around near the beach. It's so beautiful and green and full of nature, and it's really peaceful. I really loved this area near the beach. And Marbella was filled with these trees where at the top, as you can see, they had like these purple flowers. I don't know the names of them, but I fell in love with these trees. They were so pretty. So in the middle of our Spain trip, we decided to do a day trip to Morocco, and we booked it through Viator Tours. It was kind of stressful because the coach bus was very late, so we actually thought we missed our trip, but we didn't, thank God, and we made it onto the boat on time. So we finally made it on the boat, and we are about to take off to go to Tangier. We have like no sleep, but we got coffee, muffins, and so we should be good. The boat ride over was so beautiful. This is actually where the Mediterranean and the Atlantic seas meet. And yeah, it was just a breathtaking view. And it was morning time, so the air was crisp, it was sunny. We actually were told to wear loose-fitting clothing and bring a scarf to Morocco just in case we had to cover up. So as you can see, we all had these scarves on us. So we arrived in Morocco, and seriously, it was such a cool feeling because I've never been to Africa, and this was our first step onto African ground, and we were so excited.
That dates back beginning of the 14th century, exactly 1315. In the other hand,
so we got on a coach bus and had a guided tour of the city of Tangier by Hassan, who was wonderful. He gave us a lot of information about the city's history, and we got to see so many beautiful parts of Tangier, Morocco. So for €1, you could ride a camel, and I was so excited to do this. This is one of my favorite parts of the trip. It just felt so authentic to be riding a camel in Morocco, and it was actually kind of scary at first because you feel like you're going to topple over the camel just the way that they stand up, but I made it. And anyways, we ended up meeting these like little kids. They were so cute. They came over and started chatting with us.
Say hello.
Wanna take a picture?
Yeah, say hello.
Gonna take a picture.
Our next stop was this beautiful lookout of the ocean. You could see Spain and Gibraltar from here, and it was so great just being there and taking it all in and being like, wow, I'm in Africa right now. The streets of Morocco can be pretty hectic, but the people were actually all just so warm and welcoming and very friendly. There were some people that were trying to harass you to buy things, but if you ignored them or said la shukran, which means no thank you in Arabic, then they would tend to just leave you alone. Morocco so far has exceeded my expectations. I think the reason why I love Morocco so much is because it was just such a culture shock, but in a good way. And it was just so cool just to be in this totally different world and just seeing how everyone else lives on the other side of the world. So lunch was actually included in the tour, and we went to this traditional Moroccan restaurant. We had these delicious lamb skewers, we had Moroccan soup, Moroccan beer. The beer was extra actually. And then our main course was this like couscous with chicken and vegetables on top. And then for dessert we had this amazing pastry. So literally it's a pastry with like sugar on top. And then we finished our meal with mint tea. We then continued the tour, and they brought us to this place where they make all these rugs and homemade trinkets and just a bunch of things for your home. Last stop was to pick up Moroccan oil, of course. You have to when you're in Morocco. Then we got on the boat and headed back to Spain. The next day we ended up going and catching our flight and heading back to London. Honestly, Morocco was my favorite part of this little vacation within a vacation. It was beautiful, and I'd love to go back and actually see other places like Marrakesh and Casablanca. So the next day we were back in London, and we visited the Westminster Abbey. It was my second time going, and I was in just as much of awe as I was the first time. The Abbey is seriously stunning, and it is one of my favorite places to visit in London. It's just so beautiful. And then here we are just basically walking through Parliament Square. We were really proud of ourselves because we took the tube by ourselves, and we didn't get lost. We ended up at this pub, and we had fish and chips, and then we ended up meeting this couple, and they were so funny and hilarious, and they bought us some glasses of wine. And again, meeting people on your trip is like the best part. We then headed over to Harrods, and if you've never been to Harrods, I highly suggest going and checking out their food room. It's literally a bunch of rooms with the most amazing pastries and breads and just fine food items. I ended up going with this garlic and olive loaf. Then we headed into Lauderay, another must if you're ever in London. You need to go and try those macaroons. So we spent this night in South Bank, and we just kind of hung out along the Thames River. If you're looking for a place just to chill and grab a drink and relax, then this is a great place to do so. They had this like pop-up sandbar, which was cool, so we put our feet in the sand, had margaritas, and watched the sun set.
Cheers, cheers to, what'd you get? Mojito? Mojito. Cheers to London.
So on our very last day in London, we headed over to Abbey Road and did the classic shot. And here's Abbey Road Studios. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to go in. Then we ended up going to Camden Lock Market. It's a very cool market. I highly suggest going. It's so intricate, and there's all these different levels and shops. And if you're looking for souvenirs or just really cool finds to bring home from London, this is the place to go. You can just spend hours in here getting lost. I hope you've all enjoyed seeing these cities through my perspective. Traveling doesn't always have to be elaborate and overseas, but going to a new city or town nearby is just as great. The point is to be present in a place that you've never been before and just explore. I promise you will feel so much joy from doing so.